Introducing the newest innovation in therapy tool technology. The Acuforce 7.0 was created by John G. Lewis, CMT. John is a certified massage therapist who began his career working with professional athletes in 1980. He traveled as the personal massage therapist and athletic trainer to Harlem Globetrotter Meadowlark Lemon. He spent 5 years as the massage therapist and assistant trainer for the Chicago Stings soccer team, where he helped the team win the 1984 Soccer Bowl Championship. He has also worked with the PGA Tour, Volvo Tennis, and men's professional racquetball. He still consults men's professional tennis today. In 1989, John opened the Massage Therapy Center of Winnetka, a highly regarded clinic on the affluent North Shore of Chicago. The clinic has been rated the best on the North Shore by both the Chicago Sun-Times and the new book Necessities Chicago. The Massage Therapy Center employs 7 AMTA therapists, and John still works at the facility with his regular clientele. He is frequently interviewed on television and radio and speaks to groups about the benefits of massage for the general public and professional athletes.
I want to thank you for purchasing the Acuforce 7.0. I hope you'll find it to be the most comprehensive, user-friendly therapy tool available today. Over the next several minutes, I'll go through the design, function, and care of the Acuforce 7.0. I want to start by talking about the design and functions of the tool. The first feature of the tool is the point. The point is excellent for trigger point therapy and reflexology. Secondly, the wedge. Excellent for muscle stripping and cross-fiber friction. Thirdly, the wheels. Excellent for rolling up and down the erectors, trapezius and rhomboids. Excellent for suboccipital release. Chiropractors should find this tool especially helpful before manipulating the spine. And fourthly, the weight. The 7 pounds is going to enable you to do more work with less fatigue. Next, I want to talk about body mechanics and proper use of the tool on the body. You'll want to use 2 hands whenever possible to lift the tool and maneuver it. The hand fits very, very nicely in between the wheels, so it's terrific for when you're applying trigger point therapy or using the wedge to do cross-fiber friction or muscle stripping. You'll also want to use your elbows and your shoulders. Try and keep your wrists immobile. That way they're not going to fatigue quickly. You'll also want to try and drag the tool or glide the tool over the body when you're going in between points. That way you're not constantly lifting the tool and fatiguing your wrists. The skin-like surface of the Acuforce 7.0 works incredibly well with lotions and creams. The products that I recommend are the Biotone Dual Purpose Massage Cream, the Biotone Deep Tissue Massage Lotion, and the Biotone Advanced Therapy Massage Lotion. I've selected several muscles and I'm going to demonstrate the use of the Acuforce 7.0 on. We're going to start with the anterior and medial heads of the deltoid. I'm going to start by evaluating the tissue by simply palpating with my fingers, trying to identify areas that need attention. And I'm going to go ahead and strip the anterior deltoid several times. I'm going to evaluate the tissue again and look for trigger points that may have not been released. And I'll go ahead and apply pressure for 8 to 12 seconds. This is a rule of thumb that I follow. So the weight of the tool is doing all the work here. All I'm doing is holding it in a position. I'm not applying any extra weight, and I'm confident that this is making a therapeutic change in her anterior deltoid. I'll identify another point. I'll go ahead and apply pressure. And then next we'll go to the medial head. Moving on to the medial deltoid, I'm going to again evaluate the tissue. Look for ischemic or contracted tissue. I'm going to go ahead and strip the medial deltoid. I'm trying to keep the tool 90 degrees to the client and keep my wrist out of it, moving only my shoulder and my elbow. I'm going to evaluate the tissue again. Look for points. Again, I use the rule of thumb 8 to 12 seconds for pressure. And as you can see, the tool is doing all the work. I'll evaluate once more and move on. Next, I'm going to work with the intercostals. I'm going to start on the anterior side. I'm going to evaluate the tissue. And what's nice is the wedge works very, very nicely in between the ribs to really work the intercostals. So I find that a rocking motion is very, very effective. You can also do a scoop. Let the weight do the work. Oftentimes people that have constricted breathing or are hunched forward may have some intercostal involvement. So this work can be very, very effective to open them up, increase their breathing. Next, we're going to work on the psoas. I'm going to palpate the tissue, evaluate it. And I find that, again, the wedge works very, very nicely in here. It can get in without irritating the client or patient. You're not going to nail them with your fingernails. And you can very effectively and very quickly soften this tissue. So I'm cross-fibering the psoas right now. And I'll evaluate again. Can move on. Next, I'm going to go to the tibialis anterior. I'm going to evaluate the tissue, and I'm going to use the wedge to strip the tissue. I'm using only the weight of the tool. I'm keeping my wrists completely straight, using my elbows and my shoulders. And I'm leaning in as I go here, so my body is absorbing a lot of the force. I'll evaluate the tissue again, looking for trigger points. And I'm going to hold this point for 8 to 12 seconds. Next, we're going to work with foot massage and foot reflexology. I've propped Elizabeth's feet up with an Acuforce pyramid. And I'm going to go ahead and palpate the tissues and look for points. Certainly, reflexologists are going to want to follow charts. I'm going to go ahead and hit the points that I feel need attention. I'm manipulating the tool subtly, just like a reflexologist would. but the weight of the tool is really doing all the work here. I'm just from my elbow moving the tool back and forth in a very subtle fashion. I'm going to use the wedge to strip the foot. Again, just the weight of the tool is being used. This is going to be excellent for conditions like plantar fasciitis. Next, we're going to work with the gastrocnemius. I'm going to palpate the tissue, both the medial and lateral heads. I'm going to start at the Achilles and strip the lateral head first. And then the medial head. Examine the tissue and look for points. Again, I'm holding 8 to 12 seconds. Evaluate again, and we'll move on to the back. I'm going to start by working on the back by palpating the tissues, evaluating how they feel, what their needs are. And now I'm going to use the wheels to roll the spine, roll the erectors. Again, for chiropractors, this is going to be a critical tool to be able to roll the erectors and roll the rhomboids and trapezius and the suboccipitals before manipulating the spine. It's going to be very, very helpful. This can be done with the clothes on or off. I'm going at a real even, slower speed. I find that if you go too quickly, you may create a tickle effect, and I'm adding probably 3 or 4 more pounds of pressure. Next, I'm going to cross fiber the erectors. The tool's pressure in itself should be more than sufficient for cross fibering the erectors. And I'm going to strip the rhomboids major and minor. And I'm going to do some trigger point work and the quadratus lumborum. evaluating as I go, looking for points that need attention, and simply holding them 8 to 12 seconds. Can do things with the tool that you might not be able to do with your own hands. Just the weight of the tool doing the work here, and I can sense that we're going in at a good therapeutic level. I'm going to go ahead and rest the tool on the back of Elizabeth's head here in the suboccipital area. And I'm going to gently rock it back and forth. And that's a good overview of the back. We're doing a suboccipital release here. We have the wheels positioned on either side of Elizabeth's spine, her cervical spine. And she is simply letting the pressure of her head do the therapy here. The tool is resting on her suboccipitals. And this is a valuable thing for therapists to do for themselves. This is a nice way you can use the tool on yourself. We're going to move the tool to a little bit more inferior aspect of the tissues. And we'll hold it there for a moment. Great for relieving tension, headache, reducing stress. It's a valuable way to use the tool. Next, I'm going to demonstrate the use of the optional stand for the tool. This is especially helpful for physical therapists who may be working with more than one patient at the same time. It's also good if you're going to be doing self-treatment. You could position the tool on your own back and without having the aid of a therapist working on you. I'm going to demonstrate some cross-fiber friction on the quadratus lumborum. So we'll simply put the tool into place and we can glide it back and forth with very, very little work at all. You can look for trigger points. Simply turn the tool over and position it in the trigger point area. And again, therapists can leave the room or work at another part of the body while the Acuforce and the Acuforce stand are doing the work. I hope you feel that I've given you a good overview of the uses of the Acuforce 7.0. Now I want to go over the general care of the tool. I recommend that it be cleaned in between each use. Simple soap and water is fine. I would not recommend abrasive cleansers such as alcohol. If you're taking the tool outside your clinical situation, I would recommend some kind of protective carrying case. Even the box it came in is fine. If you have any questions or comments, we welcome your calls on our toll-free customer service line. It's 1-800-446-6468. I thank you again for your purchase, and I wish you well.
I love this stuff.